Hello friends, welcome to A Big Question. So this big question is really the biggest. What is a racist? Because I think everybody has a different definition of that. George Carlin once said when he's on the road, anybody who drives slower than me is an idiot. And anybody who drives faster than me is a maniac. And I think that's kind of what we think about with racism. There's things I wouldn't do and I think other persons might be racist. There's things I might do, people might think I'm a racist. So maybe it would help to have a scale of exactly what a racist is. And I think some people might say this is racism, this is reverse racism. Right now they might accuse me of white-splaining the problem. So let's try to make a scale, because it's like with the Kinsey scale. Alfred Kinsey, the famous sex researcher, just found out that few people were gay or straight. Most were a 2 or a 5, not a 1 or a 6. And I think few people are exactly a racist or not a racist. Maybe there's different variations we could come up with. I'm going to call it the Donald scale, a scale of 1 through 7. So at number 1, I'm going to put Donald Duck. Sure, he's white, and he doesn't seem to have a very diverse group of friends, and he's basically in competition with a black duck, Daffy Duck, so you could kind of see where Donald may have some race problems, but all in all, he seems like a pretty good guy, nothing really bad in his heart. Number 2, I would say Don Imus, who famously got fired for repeating the phrase nappy-headed hoes and kind of stepped in some shit. I don't know that Don Imus is really a racist. I think he just says stupid stuff and maybe wasn't thinking about it, but his word crimes had real-world consequences where he lost his job, but I don't know that he was really what anybody would think of as a true racist. Number 3, I would say Donald Sterling, because Donald Sterling, his word crimes got him in trouble, but his more appalling tendencies were his real-world behavior, where years before he got in hot water, he was actively trying to deny black people housing. He had houses that he didn't want to rent to them for whatever reason. So this is a case of somebody's thought crimes having real world consequences. Number 4, I would say Don King, because even though he's black and he tells boxers that he's on their side and he's their advocate and he's going to help them, this is somebody using their race to convince people that they're out for their best interest, even though he's been sued countless times for stealing from boxers. He once beat a man to death. So he's actually a murderer and a thief, and has been sued dozens of times for ripping off people that he was supposed to be on their side with. So this is a case of somebody using their race to take advantage of their community and also promote fights with a racial angle. Number 5, I would say, and this will be no surprise, Donald Trump. I don't know that Donald Trump is a real racist, at least not in his heart, but he likes to push those buttons. He accused Obama of being a Kenyan, not really born in America, not a legitimate president. I don't even know if he really believes that, but he knew that that was what he had to throw out to the base. The same way he talks about kicking out all Mexicans, deporting them, calls them rapists. This is demagoguery of the worst kind, and he's using racism to try to get votes, which is even scarier than Don King or anybody else. Number 6, I would say one of the mafia dons from The Godfather. There was a scene in the first Godfather movie where all the dons get together and they're debating whether they want to sell heroin or not. And one guy stood up and said, I want to sell it, but only in the black communities. Those people are animals, so what difference does it make? This is a case of a guy actively going into a different community than his own and trying to make it worse. So what could possibly be worse than that? Number 7, Donald Rumsfeld. And Donald Rumsfeld is a case where it's such a slippery, sneaky, subtle kind of racism, nobody would really accuse him of being a racist, even though he has, by far, the most deadly impact. I mean, he'll never say anything bad, he'll never say anything racist, he knows all the right PR phrases and diplomatic speak as he's going out and bombing Muslim countries and coming up with excuses to basically say the Arabs are animals, they can't govern themselves, we have to come in and help them and take control of all their stuff for them, actively spreading the myth that George W. Bush and Rumsfeld and Cheney were better towards the Muslim community than somebody like Donald Trump. Donald Trump says we can't allow Muslims in America, which is stupid, but Bush and Rumsfeld, they were going out and bombing their countries. People say, well, they reached out to moderate Muslims. It's like, yeah, because they needed their help to kill people overseas. That's not really tolerance. That's faking tolerance to get what you need out of a different community, which to me is the worst of all. So I would say because Rumsfeld will never properly be called a racist, he's definitely the worst kind. And he's actually killed a lot more than all the other 6 combined. Okay, thanks.